Hello, and you are welcome to Josel Apparel. We'll be making this cute and simple A-line dress with ruffles and straps for a 1-year-old baby girl. This tutorial is very simple and easy to put together. I'll be taking you through all the steps from cutting this dress and stitching it all together. So if this is a tutorial you want to learn, then do well to stick with us till the very end. Do not forget to hit on the subscribe button, like our videos, comment, and then share with your loved ones. So let's go ahead and then get right into the details. So I'll be working with this cotton print to make this dress. This is just a yard of fabric. I'm going to cut this into the pieces that we'll be using to make this dress. So I've cut out 2 pieces of fabric, a shorter one for the front and then the longer one for the back. So I'm going to measure the longer one. I have the width to be 18.5 inches and then the length is 17 inches. Then for the smaller one, I have the length to be 9 inches and the width is also 18.5 inches. I'll place the shorter one on top of the longer one and then I would fold this into 2 equal parts. So when I fold, I'll make sure that the sides are properly aligned. So this side is folded, unfold, and then this is where I have my pieces. So I'll be having 4 pieces in all. So from the top, I'm going to mark out my shoulder length, which is 4 inches. I'll mark. Then I would input 1.5 inches down and then connect these 2 points with a straight line. And I'll also input a quarter of my bust measurement. I'm working with 5.5 inches. I'll mark this and then connect a straight line to touch this 5.5 mark on this fabric. And I'll go ahead and then draw in my armhole curve. The next I'll do is to connect a straight line from the chest line to touch the hem of this dress. This is an A-line dress. So when I'm done with this, at the hem of this dress, I will go up by 1/2 inch and then I'll mark and connect a slant line towards the mid of this dress, just to get a beautiful curve at the hem and also to prevent sharp edges on the sides of this dress. The next I will do is to cut out this pattern. So I'm cutting out both the front and then the back, and I'll be using the shorter piece of fabric for my front and then the longer one is for my back. So I'm done cutting out. When I open this up, this is what I have: 2 pieces, one for the back and then the other for the front. So I'll set the back aside so that we can continue working on the front piece. So I'll place the front on fold and I'm going to mark out 4 inches from the shoulder downwards. I'll mark this out and also mark out 1/2 inch from the top to give the front a bit of shape. So I'll mark out 1/2 inch and reconnect it to touch the top this way. And from the 4 inch mark we made, I'll just draw in a curve to touch the side of this dress. So I'm done with that. I would cut this curve line out. I'll also cut out the slant we made at the top. So this is what our front is looking like after we curved out the front, and then this is what the back looks like. So these are the two pieces. The next I will do is to clean the neck region of this dress. To do that, I have two strips of fabric here. This strip of fabric is 1 inch in width and long enough to cover the neck region of this dress. So I'll place the right side of the strip on the wrong side of the front and then stitch this down, and when I'm done stitching, I'll turn it twice and then top stitch at the front to clean the rough edge of the front piece of fabric. And I'll be repeating the same process for the back piece of this dress. I'll stitch it down and then turn to the right side and top stitch. So I'm done with that. The neck region has been cleaned neatly. This is what it looks like for the front and then the back. I'm going to set the back aside and keep working on the front piece of this dress. So I'm going to measure out this curve that I have here. Measure from one side to the other side and take note of how I positioned my tape measure. So when I measured, I had 17 inches. So I'm going to create my ruffles that I'll be using to design this curve. I have a long strip of fabric here. This fabric is 3 inches in width. And then the total length of this strip is 40 inches. So the goal was to cut out more than twice the measurement for the curve we measured. So I'll fold in the bottom part of this strip and then stitch it down on the sewing machine. And then on top, I'm going to be drawing gathers long enough to cover the curve we have on the front piece. So this is the gathered ruffle I have here. It is long enough to fill in our curve. I'll place it on the curve region of the front from one side to the other. Then I will head to my sewing machine and then stitch this down loosely on the sewing machine. So I've done that. This is what the ruffles look like. It has been stitched on the front piece of this fabric, and this is the wrong side of my front piece. So I'm going to concentrate on completing the bottom part of this front piece of dress. So for the bottom part, I have this fabric here on fold. The width is 13 inches and then the length is 14 inches. So I actually was filming, but unfortunately I missed that. So I'm going to show you what I actually did. On the folded region of this piece of fabric, I marked out 13 inches from the hem upward, and then on the sides of this piece of fabric I marked down 9.5 inches. At the bottom, I just cut out half an inch to create that slant we did at the back, and then I connected a curve from the top to connect both points. And this is what it looks like when I unfolded my fabric. The next thing I'm going to do is to draw gathers on this curved area of this fabric from one side to the other. I have done that as well. This is what the bottom looks like, and I've brought in my front piece of the dress. Before I stitch the front to the bottom part of this dress, I'm going to make a little alteration to the top part of this dress. I'll fold the fabric into two for the front, the top part, and then remember this is an A-line dress, so the slant we have at the side, I'm going to continue it by cutting out the excess fabric I have here so that I can have the slant on the side straight. So I've cut the excess out and I've unfolded my fabric. The next I will do is to stitch the top part of this dress to the bottom part. So I'll be stitching from one side to the other on 1/2 inch. Remember the ruffle was stitched on a loose stitch, so I'll complete this by stitching the top part of this dress to the bottom part on 1/2 inch from one side to the other. So I have done that. The front is now complete. This is what the wrong side looks like, and I also serge the rough edges of the front part of this dress. So the next thing I'm going to do is to complete the straps I have for this dress. So I cut out 4 long strips of fabric. So this is what I'll be using to finish off the armhole and to create my strap. This strip of fabric is 2 inches in width and then 17.5 inches in length. You can shorten this strap depending on your preference, but it should be long enough to form a knot. So I'll stitch this down on the armhole and then turn it twice and then top stitch and complete the straps of this dress. I'll repeat the same process for the other sides of the armhole. So I'm done with the straps. I've stitched the armhole and created the straps. This is what our dress looks like. We are almost through with this dress. The next I will do is to finish off the sides of the dress. So right side facing the right sides of the front and then the back, I will be stitching the sides down on 1/2 inch from the armhole to the hem of the dress, and I will be repeating the same process for the other side of this dress. Align them properly and then stitch from one end to the other on 1/2 inch. I would also be serging the rough edges of the sides as well. So I have done that. I have serged it as well. This is how neat the inside of my dress looks like. The next thing I'm going to do is to finish off the hem of the dress. This I'll be doing by folding in the hem twice on 1/4 inch and then stitch all around to complete the hem of this dress. So I have done that as well. This is my dress. It is looking so pretty, and this is what the hem looks like, neatly finished. Remember I serged all the rough edges, so I don't need to serge afterwards. So I'm tying my knot. My dress is complete. This is how simple the dress looks. Thank you so much for making time to watch this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this and you would agree with me that this is very simple and easy to pass for a summer dress for a 1-year-old child. This is my complete dress. The design is looking so beautiful. Remember to give your dress a good press on the ironing table. This is the back of the dress. This is what the back looks like. Very simple, very beautiful, and easy to put together. And this is the front of my dress as well. Thank you so much for making time to watch this video. Please do not forget to hit on the subscribe button, and thank you. We'll see you in our next tutorial.